Hi, everyone. My name is Colleen Satarino, and I am a kidney transplant social worker with the University of Michigan Kidney Transplant Program. In this webinar, I will share some ideas and suggestions about how to talk with friends and family about living donation. As a social worker with the transplant team, I meet kidney patients and their support people as part of their initial evaluation process. Some patients that I meet have known about their kidney failure for a while and have thought about living donation as a possibility. For others, their kidney disease was a shock and they're still learning about their treatment options. Many patients get a little uncomfortable when I bring up living donation, and having some internal conflict with this topic is very common. It takes time for patients to accept that their kidneys are failing and that they need a transplant. And living donation is involving someone else's life to help their health, and that can feel scary and uncomfortable. As a transplant team, we have worked with many friends, family, and even strangers who have donated their kidney to one of our patients. And they tell us that they are happy with their decision to donate and feel honored that they could help another person get healthy again. So, how do I ask another person for their kidney? Well, in order for you to feel comfortable having these conversations, we designed our Facts and Myths program to help you focus on three areas to give you the confidence to start this process. We want you to have accurate information. We want you to take some time to think about your feelings and to encourage you to make a plan for these conversations. In previous talks in this series, our transplant surgeon and our living donor nurse coordinator shared living donation facts, which is accurate information about living donation to give you some basic knowledge and help you answer questions that potential donors might ask. We also believe that it's important for you to think about how you feel about sharing your medical information. We understand that having conversations with others about living donation means that you would be sharing health information more widely than you may be doing now. Some individuals talk openly about their health, where others are more private. In the end, the more people who know about your kidney disease means that more people will consider donating and also maybe tell others about your need. You are in control of that flow of information and how you would like to share it. Lastly, we encourage you to make a communication plan. We want to empower you and your loved ones to take active steps to both talk to others and possibly use social media if you feel comfortable. Make a plan that fits your situation and your comfort level. Since 2015, our transplant center has partnered with an organization called Explore Transplant to educate dialysis staff about transplant and living donation. They have also developed education materials for patients. Our transplant center is happy to send you the Explore Living Donation education packet to use as a reference when you are making your communication plan. Please reach out to our transplant outreach team to request a packet using the email address on this slide, transplantoutreach@umich.edu. The kidney patient and their family or friends can share the brochures and streaming videos from this program so that potential donors can learn about living donation. The information in the Explore Living Donation education packet has several items: the DVD or streaming code of the videos, three main brochures to read and share with others, and a sample email or letter to help you get the word out to the people in your life. The DVD or streaming code gives you access to videos to watch yourself and share with family and friends. These videos contain interviews with many recipients and living donors who tell their story. The donors talk about why they donated, and the recipients talk about practical ways to get the word out and how transplant changed their lives. The brochures in this packet discuss the basics of living donation, which is a good summary of much of the information shared during our surgeon and living donor nurse coordinator talks. Also, how to find a living donor, and this is really your main tool to help you develop your action plan. This brochure will take you through each step of planning a conversation. Who do you want to ask? Where could you bring this topic up? When and how? This brochure also has conversation starters and a sample letter. If you want to send an email or snail mail letter explaining your situation and your need for a living donor. Lastly, there's a brochure called How to Help a Loved One with Kidney Disease, and this provides basic information about treatment options for kidney disease. So, how can you get the word out? As I mentioned before, everyone has a different comfort level of sharing their health information. Some patients are comfortable having these conversations, and other patients are not, and they might prefer to have someone else have these conversations. In order to reach large numbers of potential donors, some of our patients have made t shirts that their family or friends can wear, or even card decals with their name and the phone number of their transplant center, and also social media posts. Reaching out directly to friends and family is another option. Any occasion when you are talking with friends and family would be a good time to test the waters and start talking about your hope to find a living donor. We've also had patients who have shared their need with larger organizations that they or their loved ones are a part of, like a church, temple, synagogue, or a community organization. We have seen several situations where donors come forward from larger organizations after hearing our patient's story. You and your loved ones can think about what actions you feel comfortable to take as a first step. The National Kidney Foundation has done a lot of research over the years to learn about living donation. And specifically, they have asked patients what are the barriers that might stop them from asking for a kidney from another person. And these are the three main ones that our patients told us. First is fear of health for their living donor. As you learned if you watch the other talks, anyone who comes forward to be considered as a living donor has a very thorough medical evaluation, and a transplant team will only agree to move forward with donation if a donor's health will not be harmed. Another concern has to do with financial problems because of living donation, due to medical bills or time off of work. And it's important to know that the medical care for a living donor is covered and there are no out of pocket medical expenses. Out of pocket non medical expenses like travel and hotel costs can also cause concern. There's an organization called the National Living Donor Assistance Center, which helps with travel expenses for the living donor to get to the transplant center. And more recently, it is also helping with lost wages of the living donor. And their information can be found at livingdonorassistance.org. The last barrier that patients have expressed is that they don't like to ask for help. The video that I'm going to show you soon talks about this, and it can be a tough one. Transplant is a situation where patients do need to ask for help from others. Every transplant needs a support team to help take care of them during their recovery from surgery. So, taking active steps to finding a living donor is another time that a patient or their loved ones are going to ask for help. If you don't ask, others won't know of your need and how they can help you. Here are a few of the action steps that you can consider. First is start by writing your elevator speech. So, an elevator speech is really just a few sentences that explain your situation, and you can share it with anyone you happen to be talking with. And you can start by writing your story down and explaining that you saw your kidney doctor, found out that you needed a kidney transplant, and the transplant team explained that the wait in the state of Michigan is at least 5 years. But if you receive a donated kidney from a healthy person, you won't have to wait so long to get a transplant. So when you have these conversations, you can mention that if that person is interested in considering donation, or they can share it with other people who they know who might be interested in helping. The elevator speech can be from the patient's perspective or from the family's perspective. A family member can start by saying, "My husband has kidney failure, my sister, my son," and then tell their story. Another action can be sending out a group email to explain the patient's health situation and their interest in finding a living donor. Lastly, social media is a great way to get the word out. Making a brief post about your situation and the number of the transplant center is a great way to start. I also want to talk for just a minute about coping with resistance. It takes courage to take the first step and start talking about your medical situation. It's also normal to feel a bit disappointed if someone doesn't offer to be tested, they change the subject, or they just say no. Most likely, the reasons that that person declined are about their own personal circumstances, not about you. It may not be the right time for them or the right decision in their life right now. Express thanks that they were willing to have the conversation and ask them to pass on your need to others. Social media is another way that you can consider. And it's such an important way that we keep in touch with our family, friends, and even acquaintances. Many patients and families have used this approach of posting on social media to get the word out to lots of people at one time. And asking people who read your post to also share to their friends is a way for many people to see your need. We do also want you to think through your decision before you use social media. Certainly, any information you put there will reach a wide audience. And once you create a post, it will be shared by many people. So it is important to make sure that the information you share is accurate. Please use our education materials and Explore Living Donation as your resources of living donor facts. It's also important to understand that there really is no guarantee that posting on social media will lead to a living donor surgery. It does increase the number of people who know about your need, and then the outcome really is out of your hands. If you're not familiar with the ins and outs of social media, reach out to family members or friends who can help you make the posts. Also, as time goes by, add updates so that anyone who is following you will know if you did find a donor or if you're still looking. I also want to mention the importance of privacy in the interactions that the transplant center has with both recipients and living donors. Once a living donor comes forward to be evaluated, they become a patient of the hospital, and their medical information is protected by privacy laws. We do not provide updates to recipients about the medical evaluation of potential living donors. We understand that may be frustrating to kidney patients who are anxious to know how their donor workup is going. We ask for your patience to allow the medical team to complete the workup and allow the potential living donor to have the time they need to make a final decision about whether donation is right for them. A potential living donor can decide to keep their intended recipient up to date, or they may decide that they don't want to do so as they're going through the process. Recipients are officially notified when a living donor receives final approval and is cleared for donation. So now we're going to show you an excerpt from the Explore Living Donation video.
Hello, my name is Amy Waterman. I'm a transplant psychologist and the creator of the Explore Living Donation program.
And I'm Dr. Albin Gritch, a kidney transplant surgeon.
When I talk to my patients and their friends and family about living donor transplant or donating a kidney, they always have a lot of questions. They usually want to wait the shortest amount of time and avoid dialysis if possible. So if you can find a living donor, the wait can be shorter, correct?
Yes, a person who has a matching living donor can get a transplant in less than a year compared to many years of waiting for a deceased donor transplant.
And kidneys from living donors on average last longer than kidneys from deceased donors?
That's right, Amy. Over 5,000 people donate a kidney in the United States each year through living donation. Surgeons across the country put a kidney from a living person into someone whose kidneys no longer work. These kidneys last on average 15 to 20 years. A kidney from someone who has died lasts on average 10 to 15 years.
Another thing I hear is that patients are very concerned about harming a living donor.
We do everything we can to avoid harming a donor. However, all of us take risks in life. I encourage patients and potential donors to visit the transplant program to learn more about the medical, emotional, and financial risks of donating. There are some potential benefits to being a kidney donor. Many people feel very good about themselves because they helped another individual, and in some cases, they changed their health for the better.
Now let's learn more together by watching the video, What You Need to Know About Living Donation. Then we'll be back to talk more.
Many people have donated their kidneys to people in their lives, but people always ask, why would a living donor donate? Can a person live okay with only one kidney? On this video, living donors share why they made the decision they did, what donor evaluation and surgery are like, and what their relationship is like with their recipient afterwards. Medical professionals also answer common donation questions.
I'm reminded of a parable. And the man asked Jesus, who is my neighbor? And Jesus told a parable of a man that was beaten up on Jericho Road. And he said a priest and a Levite came by, they looked at the man and just shook their head and passed the man by. And then there come a good Samaritan. And the good Samaritan can be someone, a complete stranger. My daughter, a good Samaritan. Carla, a complete stranger. And as family, it's not only to the Christian family, but as we have opportunity to do good unto all people.
At the transplant games, when I met up with the other living donors, I really saw a wide spectrum of people. I saw people that donated to their brothers, sisters, to their children. I met a young lady that donated bone marrow when she was 10 years old. Husband and wife donated collectively to other people. I saw a young lady that had donated to her sister, and her mom and her dad had also donated to her sister as well, so that she had received 3 transplants over time. She even said at the time, it's like, that's all of us, so now we're looking at the dog for the next one. So
our mother, would give her heart to us, if she had to, and risk her life. So we felt like, that's the least we can do.
And I don't want to compromise my best friend's life for me. I don't want to compromise my wife's life for me. I don't want to compromise my daughter's life for me. And if anybody stepped forward, I was going to say thank you very much, but I'm quite willing to wait 5 years, 6 years, or 7 years. Well, little did I know that my daughter was a little bit more persistent.
And in a way, I was kind of selfish. I wanted to have my dad back with a quality of life where he could participate with us and with the kids, get down and play with the kids and play board games with the kids and do the things he's always done.
I'm stepping forward and I'm going to help Dad. She said, well, you know that he doesn't want your daughters to compromise your health. Yeah, I know that, but you tell him that if he doesn't want my kidney, I'll find somebody else to give it to. So she had already made a decision to be a donor, and it darn well better be her daddy.
I talked to my mom, my father, and my sister that I was going to need a kidney, and my sister offered. She said, I'll try it out, see if I could donate.
His sister looks like she was going to do it, but I said, let me try it. It never hurts to try. So I did, and it turned out to be that I was a match.
We don't exactly look alike. A lot of people said, well, gee, she's black and you're white, and does that work?
Right.
And I said, yeah.
It works.
We've all got the same blood, the same organs, we're all the same, and a lot of people thought that was interesting.
It's a common misconception that only family members can donate. So a brother to brother, brother to sister, dad to child, child to dad. That's wrong. In fact, one of the most common donations is between spouses. There are also donations, altruistic donations, completely selfless donations from someone who says, I want to do something for the good of people. And that person will donate the kidney to someone they don't even know.
It's like a little camera to guide them, and that was it. That's all they did. They took out my left side, my left kidney, and it was quick.
When you're getting up and down for the first couple of times, it's uncomfortable and it's awkward because you have to get used to the fact that you just had surgery and they cut through a muscle, but it did heal fairly quickly.
Yeah, I remember just waking up from the surgery, and I think one of the first things that I asked was, how's my mom? How's she doing? And my wife told me she's doing great. That the kidney's working fine, and it started working, before they can completely finish the surgery. So, that was good to hear.
I am still sleeping in my hospital in the room, and I can hear somebody saying, "Where's my sister? Where's my sister?" And it was my brother who was walking in the room with his Dodger cap and with his nurse, and she's like, "I'm trying to slow him down. He's looking for his sister." And that was like the biggest highlight, because I had thought about that for months prior.
I woke her up, and I was a little concerned at the time because she's sleeping, and her smile said it all, and I'm sure my smile said it all also.
It's the most immediate gratification to see someone so sick the day before the transplant and 3 days after the transplant so well. Lance, I'm not kidding you, was ready to roll. He was ready to vacuum. He was ready to conquer the world. And it makes it all worth it for you.
I've had no health problems related to the kidney in the over 23 years that, I've been a donor. I've had some issues that have come up, and I would say because of the kidney donation, I have gotten the most excellent care, because the moment that people know that I have one kidney, then they begin to, the whole regimen around what they do with me changes.
So, as a member of the Michigan Medicine Kidney Transplant Team, I really want to encourage you and your family to think about making a plan to get the word out about your interest in living donation. I encourage you to reach out to our transplant outreach team to request a copy of Explore Living Donation, the packet, so that you can have it. And then you'll be able to have the streaming code to watch the entire video. I hope that you'll use this information that we provided to start talking about living donation, and that you feel encouraged by the stories of other kidney patients who have been successful in finding a living donor. Please see your team as a resource to answer any questions you may have about this process. And thank you so much, and good luck.